The boxes are packed. The farewells said. A cocktail of adrenaline and hope fizzes in your veins as you watch the familiar skyline shrink in the rearview mirror. This is it, the clean break. The new beginning you have been desperately engineering for months, maybe years. A new city, a new job, a new apartment, a new you. You have surgically excised the problematic parts of your life. The toxic boss, the dead-end relationship, the suffocating sense of stagnation. You have done everything right. And for a while, it works. The novelty is a powerful anesthetic. The new streets are a puzzle. The new faces are a promise. You are a character in a movie of your own making, and the plot is finally moving forward. You decorate the new space. You master the new commute. You impress the new colleagues. You tell yourself and everyone back home that you finally found your place. You've escaped. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, 6 months in, it happens. A strange and horrifyingly familiar feeling begins to creep in. It's a quiet dread that settles in your stomach during a routine meeting. It's the same old spike of anxiety when your phone remains silent on a Friday night. It's the same pattern of procrastination, the same defensive tone in your voice when challenged, the same hollow feeling staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. The names and faces have changed, but the script is identical. The prison has just been redecorated. You feel like a failure, a fraud. You did everything the world told you to do to fix your life, and yet here you are, right back where you started. But I am here to tell you something with the force of a prophecy. This is not your failure. This feeling is not a personal flaw. It is a warning sign. It is the most important symptom you will ever experience because it proves you have been sold a profound and crippling lie. The lie is foundational to our modern world, and it is this, that an external change can solve an internal problem. How many people do you know who are perpetually on the verge of moving? The friend who blames their misery on their city's weather, the colleague who is sure the next company will value them, the relative who hops from one state to another, chasing a phantom of contentment. This is a mass exodus, a silent pilgrimage of the perpetually displaced. We have become a culture of runners. But what if I told you the one thing you're trying to outrun is the only thing that's truly yours? What if the monster you fear is tethered to your own feet? To understand the mechanics of this grand deception, we must turn to a man who was not merely a psychologist, but a cartographer of the soul. A prophet who drew the maps of our inner worlds and saw this very trap being laid for us a century ago. His name was Carl Jung, and his diagnosis of your condition is as simple as it is terrifying. You cannot run from your own shadow. What is the shadow? It is not evil. It is not a demon. The shadow is everything you have disowned about yourself. It is the vast, dark continent within you, where you have banished every part of your personality that you deemed unacceptable, weak, embarrassing, or inconvenient. It's the anger you were taught to swallow, the creativity you were told was impractical, the vulnerability you learned to armor over with cynicism. It is your unlived life. You think you're packing clothes and furniture, but your shadow packs its own bags. It is your invisible, inseparable travel companion. It weighs more than anything you own because it is made of everything you have refused to carry consciously. So you flee your job because of a tyrannical, micromanaging boss, only to find that your new, chill boss has a passive-aggressive streak that triggers the exact same feelings of powerlessness and rage within you. This is the lie in action. The lie tells you the problem is the boss. But Jung, the prophet, reveals the uncomfortable truth. The problem is your projected shadow. You have banished your own aggression, your own desire for control, your own power into the darkness. Because you refuse to own it, you are doomed to meet it everywhere you go. The world will endlessly provide you with screens, bosses, partners, friends, onto which you project the drama of your own unowned self. It's not a location problem, it's a projection problem. Think about your dating life. You leave a relationship because your partner was too emotionally distant, too walled off. You move to a new city, a friendlier city, and within a year, you are deeply entangled with someone who is, yet again, emotionally unavailable. The lie whispers that you just have bad lucks, or a type. Jung's warning is that you are magnetically drawn to what you have disowned. Your own fear of intimacy, your own emotional armor is your shadow. And like a moth to a flame, it seeks its own reflection in others. Because when you refuse to face your own fear of being vulnerable, you will outsource the role of the distant one to your partners. When you refuse to acknowledge your own neediness, you will condemn it in others and find yourself pursued by people you label clingy. You are not finding these people by accident. You are casting them in a play that you wrote, directed, and now pretend you are only an unwilling audience member for. This is not a series of unfortunate encounters. This is a recurring lesson you are paying a fortune in rent and moving costs to avoid. The entire performance of your modern life is built on this. Your curated social media feed from your new, better life is a desperate attempt to create a version of yourself that has no shadow. Look at my sunsets, my artisanal coffee, my beautiful new friends. Look, I am all light. But this performance is exhausting, isn't it? Because behind the screen, in the quiet of your apartment, the shadow waits. The loneliness you refuse to admit, the envy you feel towards others, the gnawing sense of being an imposter. The more you curate the light, the darker and more powerful the shadow grows. You do not have a time management problem, you have a meaning management problem driven by the parts of you that you've ignored. You don't have a toxic workplace problem so much as an unintegrated power problem. You do not have a location problem, you have a shadow problem, and this isn't a glitch in your personal system. This is the operating system of our collective deception. But the lie, you see, goes even deeper than that. It is not just a psychological blind spot, it is a form of control. For this layer of the prison, we must consult an even older prophet, a man who sat under a tree 2,500 years ago and diagnosed the fundamental restlessness of the human condition with terrifying precision. The Buddha was not a god to be worshipped, but a master diagnostician of the mind. His central insight reinforces Jung's warning and reveals the societal engine that powers your endless running. You cannot escape your own mind. The Buddha taught that the source of all our suffering, our dukkha, is a relentless mental state of craving and aversion. We are always wanting what we don't have and wanting to get away from what we do have. This restless, hungry quality of the mind is the engine of our misery, and the societal lie has learned to weaponize this. It has built an entire global economy on your mind's inherent dissatisfaction. Consumer capitalism is the geographic cure, writ large. It is a machine that runs on one fuel, your belief that happiness is wow. It's in the next purchase, the next upgrade, the next experience. And the most expensive, most seductive product of all is the promise of a new self in a new place. Moving is the ultimate consumer purchase. You are not just buying a new apartment, you are buying the fantasy of a new identity. The system requires you to believe this. It profits from your displacement. Because when you are always looking for the next place, you are a perfect consumer, You need new furniture, new clothes, new services. More than that, you remain a temporary being, never putting down deep roots, never committing to the hard, unprofitable work of building a community, of fixing what's broken in your own neighborhood, of facing what is broken within yourself. A rooted person is a threat to a system that requires constant consumption. A person who is content where they are is a terrible customer. This is why our culture has a cult of newness. New is always better. A new job is an opportunity. A long-term commitment is stagnation. We are conditioned to see our lives as a series of lily pads, forever leaping to the next one before the one we are on sinks. This engineered impermanence makes you psychologically fragile and economically pliable. Your anxiety isn't a bug in the system, it is a core feature. It is the hum of the engine. And to ensure you never stop and question this frantic race, the system has one more trick: the suppression of stillness. Why is silence so terrifying? Why is an empty calendar a source of panic? Because when you stop moving, when the noise ceases, you are finally left alone with yourself. You are forced to meet the shadow you've been using the world as a shield against. You are forced to feel the raw dissatisfaction of your own mind. The endless scroll of your phone, the back-to-back streaming series, the podcast in your ears on your commute. These are not just entertainment, they are buffers. They are the noise that drowns out the uncomfortable signal from within. You are not managing your time, you are fleeing your own presence. The system provides this endless stream of distraction as a public service to keep you from the terrifying, revolutionary act of sitting still and meeting your own mind. You have been trained into a state of self-avoidance. So now you see it. The full architecture of the trap. Your psychological tendency to project your shadow, as diagnosed by Jung, is perfectly exploited by a societal system, as diagnosed by the Buddha, that needs you to stay restless, dissatisfied, and looking outward for solutions. You are a ghost in a machine that is designed to keep you haunted. You are running on a treadmill, convinced you're crossing continents. So what do? Once you see the bars of the prison, how do you break free? The answer will feel like a betrayal of every instinct you have been conditioned to obey. The antidote is not a new strategy for running. It is not a better map to a new location. The antidote is the one thing you have been running from. The path to liberation is inner work. This is the only true escape. Let me be clear. Inner work is not the soft, pastel-colored world of self-care. It is not bubble baths or positive affirmations. Those are just more forms of running, more ways to soothe the symptoms without curing the disease. True inner work is the courageous, terrifying, and profoundly sacred act of turning around on the path and walking toward the monster that has been chasing you, only to realize that the monster is wearing your face. How do you begin this journey? The first step is the hardest and the simplest. You stop. You abort the next escape plan. You cancel the Zillow search for apartments in another state. You make a radical commitment to staying put, not as a life sentence, but as a period of sacred observation. You must decide that your current life, with all its frustrations and imperfections, is not a waiting room. It is the laboratory. It is the holy ground where the work must be done. Next, you must learn to embrace your triggers. That colleague whose incompetence fills you with rage. That friend whose success sparks a sickening envy in you. That recurring situation that makes you feel small and helpless. Stop seeing these as problems to be eliminated. They are not obstacles on your path. They are the path. They are messengers from your shadow, pointing with perfect accuracy to the part of you that needs to be excavated. Instead of asking, "I am," "How can I get away from this person?" you must ask the terrifying question, "What in me is this person forcing me to see?" Is your colleague's incompetence enraging because it reflects your own disowned fear of not being perfect? Is your friend's success painful because it illuminates the creative potential you buried long ago? The trigger is a treasure map, and the X marks a spot inside of you. This is the work of integration. Jung called it shadow work. It involves a conscious dialogue with these disowned parts. You personify them. You give your anger a voice. You ask your fear what it is trying to protect you from. You ask your laziness what dream it is guarding. This is not madness. It is the ultimate act of sanity. It is the process of becoming whole. You must own your darkness to control it. If you do not, it will own you, and it will steer your life from the shadows. Imagine your life as a great ship. For years, you've been the frantic navigator on the main deck, desperately steering the ship away from every storm, blaming the ocean, the wind, and the stars for your violent journey. You sail from one port to another, hoping for a calm sea, but the ship itself creaks and groans and violently lurches, no matter how calm the water. Inner work is the realization that the storm is not outside the ship. The storm is a mutiny below decks. Your banished selves, your shadow, are the mutinous crew, sabotaging the engine, rattling the hull, trying to get your attention. Your only path to a smooth voyage is not to find a new ocean. It is to have the courage to leave the helm, descend the dark ladder into the belly of the ship, and face your crew. You must listen to their grievances, acknowledge their power, and integrate them. You must become the captain of the whole vessel, mutineers and all. Only then can you sail steadily through any storm. This is the path to inner sovereignty. It is the end of the slavery of running. When you do this work, something miraculous happens. The world outside begins to transform, not because you moved, but because you changed. The tyrannical boss no longer holds the same power because you have owned your own authority. The distant partner no longer feels like a rejection because you have learned to provide your own intimacy. The world stops being a haunted house because you have stopped being a ghost. So here is the choice, presented to you now with full knowledge of the deception you have been living under. The system will continue to sell you maps to paradise. The lie will always be there, whispering seductively that this time it will be different, that the next city, the next job, the next person will be the one. The system is counting on your amnesia. It is betting you will choose the exhaustion of running over the terror of standing still. You can pack your bags again. You can write another chapter in the same endlessly repeating story. Or you can do the one thing the lie is terrified of you doing. You can put your bags down. You can sit with your discontent. You can turn your gaze from the horizon to the vast, unexplored landscape within you. This is not a choice between comfort and difficulty. It is a choice between a hollow life and a whole one. The world will not save you. The next city holds no magic key. The system benefits from your sleepwalking. The uncomfortable, terrifying, and liberating truth is that it is all on you, not to fix yourself, but to finally meet yourself, to gather all the exiled parts of your being and call them home. Stop looking for a place to land. Your task is to become the place. Stop searching for a home. Your job is to build it inside your own chest. The only promised land worth finding is the one you cultivate within. The escape you have been seeking your entire life is not out there. It was never out there. The only way out is in. This is the end of the lie. Nigh.